The worst part wasn't when the gunshots started. It was the few minutes before them, when I was sitting alone in my truck, watching a car that should have been gone remain perfectly still behind me. It had started as an ordinary drive home after a graveyard shift. I was tired, it was well past midnight, and the Parkway was almost completely empty. There were no headlights ahead of me, no cars coming from behind, and hardly any sign that anyone else was awake. Then I suddenly had to pee. Not just a normal urge. It became painfully urgent, the kind where you know you aren't going to make it home comfortably. With the road so deserted, I decided to pull over for a minute and use the woods beside the Parkway. I put my hazards on. It seemed unnecessary, but I figured there was always a chance a police officer might come through and see my truck stopped on the shoulder. I stepped into the darkness, relieved myself, and climbed back behind the wheel. Then I turned the key. Nothing. Instead of the engine coming alive, I heard that sickening clicking sound of a battery that didn't have enough power to start. I tried again. Nothing. A third time. Nothing. I tried at least 5 times before finally stopping. I didn't want to completely kill the battery, especially since my hazards were still running. So I got out again. My plan was simple. Stand beside the truck, wave someone down, and hopefully find a driver with jumper cables. For several minutes, there was nothing. Then headlights appeared in the distance. They grew brighter as the vehicle approached. I stepped toward the road and started waving both arms. The car slowed. It pulled over behind my truck. For a second, I felt relieved. Then both front doors opened. 2 relatively big men stepped out. I stopped walking. They weren't carrying jumper cables. The driver looked at me, and I immediately asked, "Do you have jumper cables?" He glanced at the other man, then back at me. "Nah." The second man looked toward my truck. "You stuck?" "Yeah," I said. "My battery died." The driver paused. "Give me a sec. I'll call one of my boys." Something about that answer bothered me. I couldn't explain exactly what it was. Maybe it was the way they looked at each other. Maybe it was the fact that neither of them had cables. Maybe it was simply the feeling I got from them. They gave me gangster kind of vibes. I knew that sounded ridiculous even as I thought it, but I couldn't shake it. The driver got back into his car to make the call. I climbed into mine, and for the first time that night, I realized I didn't completely trust the 2 strangers behind me. I picked up my phone and called my brother. It took a couple of attempts before he answered. I had woken him up, and I could hear the sleep in his voice. "It's me," I said. "I'm stuck. It's an emergency. My battery died." "What happened?" "I need jumper cables. Hurry." He told me he'd come over in a few minutes. That should have made me feel better. Instead, I kept looking toward the car behind me. I ended the call and stepped outside. The other vehicle was still there. I raised my arms and waved toward the driver. "I've got help coming," I called. "It's cool." The driver opened his door. He stepped out just far enough to look at me. Then he said, "Aight." He got back inside. That was it. The strange feeling of danger suddenly disappeared from my body. My shoulders loosened. I went back into my truck, leaned the seat back, and decided to wait for my brother. 5 minutes couldn't be that long, but something soon bothered me. I hadn't heard the other car leave. I sat up, looked in the mirror. The car was still behind me. 5 minutes had passed since I told them I had help. Why were they still there? I called my brother again. He answered almost immediately. "I'm just getting in the car," he said. "Floor it," I told him. "Get here as fast as you can." There was a pause. "Why?" "I think I'm about to get jumped." My brother understood that I wasn't joking. He had a baseball bat in the back seat, something he apparently kept there as usual. Okay. Luckily, my truck wasn't far from our house. Normally, it would have been about 5 minutes, maybe less if he drove fast. I sat there staring at the dark road and started blaming myself. Why hadn't I just held it for another 5 minutes? If I had, none of this would have happened. Then more headlights appeared. My heart lifted for half a second, but the vehicle didn't approach me directly. It slowed and pulled up behind the first car. 2 doors opened. I knew immediately it wasn't my brother. The driver of the first vehicle stepped out and greeted the newcomers like they already knew each other. They stood together near the roadside, talking loudly. Their voices carried through the empty Parkway. They cursed. They gestured. Then, slowly, they began moving toward my truck. I stared at their hands. There were no jumper cables. Not one set. Whatever they had originally claimed they were waiting for, it clearly wasn't coming. The men kept advancing. I stayed inside my truck. And then, in the distance, I saw headlights I recognized. A Mustang. My brother was finally coming. The Mustang came down the Parkway faster than I had ever been happier to see another car move. My brother pulled up in front of my truck and immediately got out. He had his baseball bat in his hand. Then he opened the back seat and pulled out another one. He tossed it toward me. I caught it. My brother was bigger than me and naturally more dominant, but there was nothing uncertain about his voice when he faced the men. "We don't want trouble," he said loudly. "It's best you move along and let us go about our business." The men backed up slightly when they saw the bats. One of them walked away. Another answered, "We ain't ever said we want no trouble." But something had changed. I looked toward the first car. The passenger who had originally stepped out with the driver was gone. I leaned toward my brother. "Be careful," I whispered. "One of them is missing." My brother didn't answer immediately. Instead, he got back into his car and positioned it in front of my truck. He lifted the hood and pulled out his jumper cables. I watched the men. They had gathered around the other vehicle. 3 of them were visible. My brother connected the cables to my dead battery. The whole time, I kept scanning the darkness. The road was quiet again. Too quiet. Then my brother softly said my name. I looked at him. He tilted his head toward the woods. I turned. At first, I saw nothing. Just trees, branches, darkness. Then I noticed movement. The missing passenger was standing inside the woods. He had disappeared from the road without us seeing him leave. Now he was positioned off to the side, partially concealed by the trees. He wasn't walking toward us. He was waiting, watching, and from where he stood, it looked like he was preparing to sneak up on us. My brother leaned closer. "Try it." I understood. I got into my truck. My hand wrapped around the key. For a moment, I didn't move. All I could hear was my own breathing. Then I turned the ignition. The engine caught. The truck started. Relief hit me so hard I almost laughed. But the danger wasn't over. I jumped back out. My brother was still under the hood, disconnecting the cables. I stood nearby with the bat, watching the men. They were still clustered around their car. Nobody spoke to us. Nobody approached. My brother finished gathering the cables. Then we whispered the plan. We would close our hoods, get into our vehicles, and leave immediately. He would reverse first. I would follow. Neither of us was going to wait around to see what the men intended to do. We closed the hoods. For one final second, we looked toward the group. They were huddled together beside the third car, watching us. We ran for our vehicles. My brother reached his Mustang first. I sprinted toward my truck. The plan was simple. Get inside, reverse, create enough space, then hit the road. My brother threw his Mustang into reverse and floored it. I followed. For a split second, I thought we were going to make it. Then I heard something explode behind me. A violent crash came from the back of my truck. My rear windshield shattered. A brick had been thrown through it. The impact sent broken glass across the inside of the vehicle. The brick landed on my dashboard. I ducked instinctively. Then came another sound. Gunshots. I heard the first one and immediately dropped lower. Then another, and another. The remaining glass in my back windshield shattered as the shots continued. I kept myself as low as I could while still trying to see the road ahead. Everything happened at once. My heart hammered against my chest. The engine roared. My brother's Mustang was already moving away. I stayed on the gas. There was no turning around. No stopping. No checking who was shooting. Just get out. The Parkway blurred ahead of me. I could hear the engine, my breathing, and the terrible memory of those gunshots still ringing in my ears. I expected headlights to appear behind us. I expected the men to chase. But they didn't. They stayed behind. Neither my brother nor I was injured. We had somehow managed to get away. I kept driving until the road no longer felt like a trap. Only then did I begin to process what had happened. A simple dead battery had turned into something completely different. A stranger had stopped behind me. 2 men had approached without jumper cables. They had called someone else. They hadn't left when I told them help was coming. Then another vehicle arrived. More men appeared. One disappeared into the woods. They had moved toward my truck. And when my brother arrived, the entire situation had escalated. The bats had made them back away, but apparently not far enough. Now there was broken glass in my truck and a brick sitting on my dashboard. And somewhere behind us, those men were still on that empty Parkway. We didn't stop anywhere. We went straight home. There was only one thing left to do. Tell our father what had happened. When we finally got home, we told our 65-year-old father everything. We explained how my battery had died, how the first 2 men stopped, how they said they would call someone, how they stayed after I told them my brother was coming. Then the second vehicle arrived. Then the men started moving toward my truck. Then we noticed the missing passenger hiding in the woods. Then my brother arrived with the bats. Then the engine started. And finally, the brick and the gunshots. Our father listened without interrupting. When we finished, he told us he was 100% sure we'd just had an encounter with a local gang. Then he gave us another warning. He told us not to take that specific parkway at night. It wasn't a safe road. Looking back, that warning explained something I hadn't understood while I was sitting there waiting for help. There had been no reason for those men to stay. If they genuinely wanted to help, they could have simply said they didn't have jumper cables and driven away. Instead, they waited. They called someone. They remained behind my truck. And when another vehicle arrived, more men joined them. Most disturbing of all, one of them had quietly disappeared into the woods. I still don't know exactly what they intended to do. I can only guess. Maybe they wanted to rob me. Maybe they planned to force me out of the truck. Maybe the person hiding in the woods was waiting for the right moment to attack from behind. Whatever their plan was, it clearly changed when my brother arrived carrying baseball bats. And when we finally escaped, they didn't chase us. That might be the part that stays with me the most. Because there was no dramatic pursuit afterward. No explanation. No confrontation that gave us certainty about what they wanted. Just a dark parkway, a dead battery, several strangers, and the sound of gunfire following us into the night. I had pulled over because I couldn't wait another few minutes to use the bathroom. I thought I was making a harmless decision. Instead, I found myself sitting alone on an empty road after midnight, surrounded by strangers who seemed to have no intention of leaving. And if my brother hadn't arrived when he did, I don't know how that night would have ended. The broken rear windshield could be replaced. The brick could be thrown away. The truck could be repaired. But the memory of looking into those woods and realizing the missing man was standing there, waiting, is something I don't think I'll ever forget.